Hi, I'm Diego Hodge, and today I'm going to cover some of the implementation techniques that I've been using in Unreal Engine 5 and Fmod. Here in the Anim blueprint, you can see that I have a notify for each foot. This way, I can fire the line trace at the correct foot for better accuracy. In our play footstep sounds function, you can see the line trace. We use the trace hit to determine a few things, including distance, physical material, and hit location. This is where it starts to get interesting. If the trace hits water, then we'll fire an additional line trace straight down from just below the surface to determine what material is below the water. This allows me to blend other surface types with the water, resulting in more character and improved realism. Another feature I've added is water depth. By using the trace hit distance, we can adjust our water depth parameter in Fmod, which allows us to blend between shallow and deep water sounds. In Fmod, we have a parameter sheet for our surface type that will play back the corresponding sound to the surface that was detected. Our water footsteps are in a nested event that blends between our shallow and deep water sounds. This event also contains our sounds for the water subsurface. Here you can see we have dirt and stone. And here is our water depth parameter sheet, which blends between our different water sounds and turns down our subsurface sound when the water gets deeper. Next up, we'll take a look at our indoor and outdoor ambience transitions. In this example, you can hear the outdoor sounds are muffled when the player goes indoors. This is accomplished by using the ambient zone settings in a basic audio volume. When the listener enters the volume, a low-pass filter is applied to any sounds outside the volume. The opposite is also true. When the player is outside the volume, any sounds inside will have a filter applied. For this to work with Fmod, we'll need to establish some parameters in our project settings. I also added an option to move the listener from the camera to the player character. Here in the Fmod project, you can see our automation curves for the low-pass filter and the volume. Taking a look at the outdoor ambience, you can see it uses a combination of 2D loops and a scatterer instrument to add a little variety. Continuing with ambience, here's a look at our underwater sounds. For this system, I'm not using audio volumes. Instead, I'm using a trigger box that's part of the water blueprint. That means this will work with any water in the game with little to no additional work. Here, you can see the underwater snapshot. It basically adds a low-pass filter to the above water sounds, and it turns up the underwater sounds. Now, let's take a look at the Spline system. This system is great for handling rivers and other bodies of water. You can hear that the water always sounds like it's coming from the shoreline, no matter where the player moves to. This is because we're using a single emitter that follows the player along a spline. The white line around the island is our spline. Here, you can see how the audio emitter follows the player. Let's take a quick look at the blueprint. It just finds the location on the spline that's closest to the player and moves the audio emitter to that point. For this last example, I want to take a quick look at the Bubblespace system that I made to handle reverbs. Basically, this system fires a bunch of line traces out from the player to determine the room size and the ceiling height. These numbers can then be used to change parameters in Fmod to dynamically adjust the reverb. We only fire the line traces when the player is moving. That way, we don't waste resources when the player is standing still. In Fmod, I have a delay, a DSP reverb, and 4 convolution reverbs. These are adjusted and blended together depending on the room size and the ceiling height parameters. This results in a really dynamic reverb and eliminates the need to manually place reverb zones in a game level. Let's hear how it sounds. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.